Hello, my name is Matt Bouchard, and I'm interviewing everybody's favorite hero, Triumphant Taylor. Thank you for joining us today. Hello, my name is Matt Bouchard, and I'm here interviewing everybody's favorite hero, Triumphant Taylor. Thank you for joining us today. First off, what kind of superpowers do you have, and how did you get them? After receiving your powers, what swayed you to pursue justice rather than evil? In your quest for justice, who would you say is your greatest nemesis, and why? Can you describe to our viewers how it feels to be the hero who saves the day? Can you describe to our viewers how it makes you feel to be the hero who saves the day? How did you stumble upon your allies of the Cool Crew? Thanks to you, the city is almost crime-free. What do you do in your spare time? How do you guys know where to find the villains before they wreak havoc upon our town? Have you ever lost a battle? And if so, how did that make you feel? Now, how do people treat you when you aren't wearing the costume? Well, Triumphant Taylor, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to answer these questions. And on behalf of the city, thank you for defending us. Well, Triumphant Taylor, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me. And on behalf of our city, thank you for everything you do. Nice mask, by the way. Yeah. How do you edit special effects in a movie?
Do cool stuff.
Okay, I'm done with this. What kind of superpowers do you have, and how did you get them?
Well, Matt, can I call you Matt?
Yep.
Okay. Well, my powers are, it's kind of an easy thing to comprehend. My powers include the ability to absorb hot air into my body, and then as the hot air is stored inside my body, I can unleash it out of my hands or my chest, or that's pretty much it, and in the form of like fireballs or like constant stream of fire, like kind of like a flamethrower, or if I pent up a lot of energy, I can unleash a giant like heat laser out of my chest. And actually, when I acquired them, it was a very funny story. There was this house, right, and it was on fire, and when I was always the kid who always wanted to help everyone, you know, like I really wanted to make a difference in my life, and the fire department was there, and they were able to get all the kids out. I mean, all the people out, except there was one kid left in the building. So I ran in, you know, totally not thinking of how dangerous or whatnot, and I was able to find the kid, and the firefighters had a trampoline set up and was ready for me to throw the kid out the window. So as I threw him out, a giant blast of radiation, because apparently the nearby power plant exploded, and the radiation hit myself, and it flung me back into the fire, and then the radiation kind of intermixed itself with the fire, thereby granting me my superpowers.
Who's your greatest nemesis and why?
Well, my greatest nemesis, I would have to say, is the supervillain known as Genocide. And the thing about Genocide is he seems like a normal person. Like, he mainly uses guns or swords or knives and grenades, pretty much, you know, what, like, you know, kind of a normal person is. But where his power comes from is he has the ability to adapt to things. Like, for example, my first encounter with him, I wanted to be peaceful. I wanted to settle things out because he was trying to hold the bank up. But so what I did was I fired a warning shot fireball, which couldn't even hurt a kid at him, but his body adapted to the fireball. So the next time I shot a fireball at him, it didn't do anything. And the other thing, and then not only does he adapt to, like, you know, things shot at him, Conan the Destroyer, who's a member of the Cool Crew, he's super strong, and then Genocide's able to adapt to his strength so he can outmatch him, and he can outmatch Ballbreaker's speed, because Ballbreaker's speed is that he's super fast, and it's just a whole lot of bad things can happen when you fight him.
Can you describe how it makes you feel when you save someone?
Well, it actually goes way back to even before I became Triumphant Taylor. It's just that I still read them, but I'm a big fan of comic books. Every time I read them, it's just when there's that moment when the hero does something great. It's just this feeling you get inside. And before I got my powers, it's just every time, like, even if it was something little, like, say someone dropped, like a girl, like, dropped their makeup, or, I don't know, like a lip gloss, whatever the heck it is, and I'll walk over, pick it up, give it to the person. It's just this feeling you get. Like, if I see a dollar bill, a $1 bill, I will turn it in. I don't know, it's just that noble feeling you get. I don't know, that's usually every time I save the world, or even if it's a cat stuck in a tree. It's just that feeling you get.
Can you tell us about the members of your cool crew?
Well, there's myself, the leader, of course, and then there is the Mega Dutchman, who was a very good friend of mine since the beginning, even before we got our powers, and his ability is he's able to shoot energy beams out of any part of his body, and because, actually, when I was talking earlier about how when the radiation hit me, and also the radiation hit a vast number of other people. That's actually how all of us, the cool crew, got our powers. So yeah, there's myself, and then there's the Mega Dutchman, who, when he got hit by the radiation, he was playing a video game, and the sudden radiation mixed with the electricity went through his eyes, and then giving him the ability to shoot energy out of any part of his body. Also, as it went through his eyes, it enabled him the ability to see in any pattern of light, whether it's infrared or violet, or just like night vision, any pattern. And it also increases IQ, so he's very, very intelligent. And then there's Conan, the Destroyer, who I mentioned earlier, and how he got his powers was he was walking down the street, and there was a truck carrying chemicals in it, and the brakes went out, and it almost was about to hit this woman. So Conan, he ran and pushed the woman out of the way, and what happened was the car skidded out, and then the door flew open, and all the chemicals splashed onto Corbin. And then apparently what happened when the radiation hit him, it kind of jump-started the chemicals all over him, because there was also animal DNA in those chemicals. So what happened was Corbin grew to like 7 feet tall. He got really, really strong and muscular, and then what happened was his skin turned blue, and his skin turned as hard as a diamond, so he's bulletproof. And then going back to the animal DNA, he's kind of got like a feral, kind of bestial kind of ability, like where he's got like heightened senses, kind of like a wolf or any other kind of beast. And when he's in battle, you really do not want to face him. And then there's Ballbreaker, who has super speed, and when he got his powers he was running away from a couple kids who we kind of got in a little scuffle with, and they were shooting paintball guns. They had paintball guns they were shooting at Mike, and he was running away. So what happened was Ballbreaker was running when the radiation hit him. Since he was running, his muscles started like, I don't know, he said it, what happened, but I forget, because Ballbreaker kind of, is a weird talker, but it kind of made his ability to run very greater, so then that enabled him to run faster, and he can do all sorts of crazy things, where it's run fast or run through walls because he vibrates so fast. There's just a huge list. And then there is let's see, who else? There's Awesome Andy, and he got his powers. He really never described how he got his powers, but of course, the radiation hit him, and he has the ability to fuse with anything he touches. Like, say for example, he touches the desk, right? The desk actually will become a part of his body, or if he wants to, he can touch things and then it'll become like his skin. So if he touches metal, his whole body, like skin, will turn to metal. And then he also has super breath, and then depending on what he touches as well, can change his breath. So say like he touches a rock, and then he uses his super breath, he can like blow out a sandstorm out of his body. And then there's Killax, who is a ninja, and when the radiation hit him, he somehow has the ability now to like use shadows and unleash shadow energy out of his hands, and he's a very good martial artist. I'll give him that. But he can't. He's kind of like the borderline between kind of good and evil. I mean, he fights the good fight, but he has methods, I believe, that are more graphic, as in he's not hesitant to use his sword on things. Oh, and speaking of swords, he also has the ability to change his hand into a giant sword and shadow blade, which is very, very nasty, especially when it's not always a good thing. And then there is the Kazam twins, which consist of Mighty Molly and Yin Yang Yib. And they're actually the only members who never got their powers from radiation. In fact, they get their powers from 2 magic rings. Each one possesses 2 rings. Mighty Molly has a ring of the element of water and air. And then Yin Yang Yib uses the element of fire and earth. And they just control the elements with their rings. And then there is Paco Mysterio, who has the ability to teleport and the ability to turn invisible. And since, as opposed to, compared to the other members of the Cool Crew, he has a more wider range of gadgets as opposed to us. Like, he has little batarang things that he can throw at people. He's got a lacrosse stick, which can also function as like a grappling hook or many other uses. And then there's Handy Phantom, who it's actually a funny story how he got his powers. What happened was when the radiation hit him, he died. But then when what he told me was when he was in the afterlife, his ancestors found him and told him that it was not yet his time. So they said they were going to send him back, but giving him the powers of the sort of like the supernatural, and like he has pretty much the powers of a ghost, which lets him walk through walls. He controls ectoplasm, which is kind of like the so-called life force per se of like ghosts. He can use that to knock people out or wide range of things. And he's also telepathic, which means he can read people's minds, and he's telekinetic, which means he can also move things with his mind. And he can astral project himself, which is he can let his soul come out of his body, and he can just fly around and slip in undetected. But the only downside to that is his body is totally vulnerable to anything. So he only usually uses it when he's in a very secured area. I mean, if it's in the heat of battle, he'll never use it. And then there's kind of like our mentor, Dr. Giarxone, and he's been alive since actually the Middle Ages. And he's a very good sorcerer, and he actually is the one who caused the... he didn't so much cause it. It's actually the 2 villains, Agent Theo and the Jokester. They're the ones that caused the power plant to blow up. But what happened was when Giarxone was able to use his magics and have all the radiation target us, because I guess there's some old prophecy back in his day that heroes will come and save us all, but I guess that's us. And yeah, he's a very good magician and stuff like that. And then there's kind of like our 2, they're not really like members of the Cool Crew, they're kind of like the part-timers, like they come in if we really need them, but otherwise they kind of work other like solo. It's Hayes and Hydro Boy. And then Hayes he's kind of similar to Killax on account of he's kind of a ninja, but instead he uses 2 swords. And he also uses a bow and arrow, as opposed to Killax, which I forgot to mention, has 2 pistols, which can shoot out shadow bullets, which are technically not bullets, but just like little balls of shadow energy, which can kind of incapacitate people. But Hayes also can turn into smoke, he can teleport, he can turn himself invisible, and pretty much that. And then Hydro Boy lives in the he's half man, half fish. he can like he's normal, and then he can transform himself into like this fish monster kind of thing. He can live underwater, and since he spends so much time in the water pressure has actually made him more durable, so he's able to withstand bullets. And he's also very strong, and he can talk to fish, and he's got some pretty nasty claws, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff I don't even know stuff about him. But yeah, that pretty much sums up the Clue Crew.
Thanks to you, the city's almost crime-free. What do you do in your spare time?
Well, Matt, I wish I had some spare time because, heck, the city might seem safe and crime-free, but there's always some crazy psychopath who wants to blow up the world, but that's when I step in and seize it. But yeah, still, I wish I had some spare time.
How do you know where to find the villains before they destroy the city?
Well, sometimes we'll see it on the TV. I mean, I know that's kind of the worst way to put it, but we also have a kind of like a threat detector. I don't know how the Mega Dutchman did it, but usually when like evil strikes, the detector will pick it up and then alert us. Or Handy Phantom, because Handy Phantom, I can't explain how amazing his telepathy is. He can pick stuff up like it's weird. But that's usually how we fight crime.
Have you ever lost a battle, and if so, how did you deal with it?
Well, way back when I first was Triumphant Taylor, in my first week, I was responding to a 911 call. There was a woman who was held at gunpoint, and I was able to arrive there before the police.
Have you ever lost a battle, and if so, why?
Well, in my first encounter with genocide, when I found out that he can adapt to my powers, he kind of whooped me a bit, but that wasn't the real part because one of the villains named Zartan, he summoned this demon from hell named Hellraiser, and when I was in the we were fighting in a forest that Zartan created. And after genocide kind of knocked me around a bit, Hellraiser came in and he put the hurt on me. But actually, to be honest, even with my healing powers, which is, of course, another power I forgot to mention, I still think Hellraiser would have probably killed me. The only reason why I'm still standing here was Ballbreaker was able to come in time and knock Hellraiser out a bit for me to recover and us to get out of there before Hellraiser could do any more damage.
Thank you.
Alright, well, it's been great. Actually, oh, excuse me. Oh, dear. Yeah, I gotta go. Mega Dutchman needs me. Well, the interview's been great. I'll see you later. I gotta go.